Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back in another video from Mother's Basement, and I promise I'm going to get to the cult that made anime number 2 at some point, as soon as I get time off. It's a long video, so we're going to check out picking anime of the year is impossible in 2021. There's been a lot of decent anime this year. I really enjoyed Mushoku Tensei this year. I've absolutely loved it. It's been absolutely boss, and considering I had like 2 halves in the same year, absolute class. 86 I've really enjoyed. I wouldn't say it's like anime of the year, but it's been very enjoyable. Odd Taxi is definitely up there. That was something else, Odd Taxi. Like, oh my god. I'm really enjoying Komi Can't Communicate right now. And, what else? ReZero came back. That was this year, wasn't it? That was a big, like, whoa. And, yeah, so let's see what Mother's Basement has to say on picking anime of the year is impossible in 2021. Shall we?
Award seasons are funny. It can be hard to avoid getting swept up in the hype of a big show, but it's just as hard to avoid feeling disappointed when they're over. Occasionally, we'll get upset over an objective snub, like the fact that Psychonauts 2, one of the most ambitious and cohesive works of narrative design in video game history, somehow lost Best Narrative at this year's Game Awards to a fun Marvel action RPG with some good writing and branching dialogue. Like, okay, yeah, I get it. Guardians made you really sad or whatever, you really like the story, it's a good story. But does it express the wallowing, isolating...
Never played Psychonauts, so don't understand. There's a lot of people that want to play this game and that I'm dead excited when it got announced in that.
Mechanics say about its protagonist? Does it understand how It's a Small World is a perfect metaphor for the self-aggrandizing delusions of a despotic narcissist?
I don't know. Does it? Does it?
The art of tutorialization alone, the dehumanizing existence of an unpaid intern. What do its collectibles tell you about a man's soul?
I don't know.
This is like giving Best Animation to Yuri on Ice the same year Mob Psycho
yeah, okay.
100.
That was a bit weird.
Which I guess would have been a way more accessible example for most of the people in my anime watching
Quite
audience.
possibly, yes. Please, that would have been better, thanks.
Damn it, I'm going to use this platform to bitch about it and soft sell all of you guys on my personal game of the year.
Okay.
That is just a personal preference, though.
Get to the anime. Get to the anime.
The year winner does also upset me on some level. That's for the far more common cause behind award whining, that I wanted
Get to the anime.
My personal tastes to win instead. In most years, at most awards shows, and in most categories, there are multiple nominees that could be valid winners, depending on what the
Is there too many this time?
In art, be that widespread community impact, emotional complexity, clever plot structure, raw technical excellence. It really could be anything. And when the people
Skate the Infinity was class.
A different subjective anything than the one that you care about the most, that just sucks. But people disagree with each other about stuff like that all the time.
All the time.
We all just have to learn to live with that. That's not the problem that prompted me to make this video. Picking anime of the year for 2021 isn't impossible.
To Your Eternity was boss as well.
Consensus on which series truly deserves it. That's always been the case. What's different this year is
Sakugan.
I can't even reach a consensus with myself. Heck, I can't even narrow it down to a top 10. Should I care more about one of the greatest
I never checked that out.
directors teaming
I
up
came on a
with
guitar.
legendarily innovative studio to masterfully craft your own unique interpretation of the Japanese equivalent of Shakespeare? Or is it more notable that the
Sonny Boy, never watched this either. Oh no.
One Punch Man has finally been given the chance to channel his incredible talent into a philosophically rich, experimentally
that's where they're in the school and they're surrounded by all the shadows and that.
His own creation. Is it more
oh my god, what an anime.
The most beloved and influential epic fantasy light novels of all time has finally been given the Peter Jackson tier adaptation?
It really is that high class, isn't it? 86, yeah, go on, yeah. Boom, boom.
Sci-fi light novels in recent memory has been
It's so good.
in the hands of a truly visionary new director and is already shaping up to be one of the next decade's biggest franchises. Or does the brilliant, ReZero Season 2
always puts a smile on my face when I so it was this year, because I'm sure it started last year, but yeah.
Fruits Basket and Attack on Titan.
Can't wait for that to come back, man. Komi Can't Communicate, yeah, this is good.
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Of course, Jujutsu Kaisen as well. To Eternity was boss as well.
Endless sorrow of To Your Eternity's Fushi, or for the deeply
Oh, of course, my god, Megalobox 2 as well. And there was Dynazenon.
Immigrant experience of Megalobox 2's
Yeah, man, Nomad was class.
There,
Dynazenon as well.
anime, what's more deserving of a signal boost?
Boom.
Again,
Zombieland Saga, I was just about to say as well, like, that had a sequel. Yeah.
Should I disregard my current cult faves, reach for the conclusion that
And then Shaman King had a thing.
Cowboy Bebop research has led me to, and finally get into Lupin the Third. Of course, I gotta call attention to Link Click.
That did sound good, Link Click.
The Donghua Revolution ain't gonna fight itself, but at the same time, I can't exactly not rehash my Avatar is an anime argument when there's a Western anime.
Oh my god, Arcane was incredible.
How can I? Digging deeper.
Vivi! That was brilliant as well. Oh, there's been so many good anime this year.
Vivi's century-long
That was
search
class.
for the meaning of meaning, or by Yatora Yaguchi's
Right, I haven't watched Blue Period.
life-changing discovery of the power of personal
I've watched so much more anime this year than
expression.
any, like, for a long time. Beastars Season 2 was brilliant as well, my god.
Animalistic status competition of Beastars Season 2, or the vicious animalistic status competition of Kageki Shoujo? Or should I
It was a bit weird, like, finding out that there's more to the Beastar manga as well, so it could potentially have another 2 seasons, is what I read.
Seeing a great play since lockdown began. And then,
Oh,
perhaps
Taxi.
most importantly, as an avid scholar of advancements in anime artistry, am I more in love
Story
with
with Odd Taxi was
meticulously
amazing.
engineered narrative
So clever.
clockwork and
Very clever.
delightful dialogue embellishments of Odd Taxi, or the heartbreakingly
People are loving Ranking of Kings.
gorgeous and evocative visual storytelling of Ranking of Kings? How could I, or anyone for that matter, ever possibly choose between my two beloved rounded sons, Otokawa and Boji? I haven't even had time to watch more than an episode or two of all the shows I think have the potential to earn the crown.
Wow,
Watching
okay.
anime is literally my job. I mean, I kind of did that to myself by taking on several huge retrospectives this year, deciding to investigate a cult.
Oh, mate, I still need to check out that part. I'm going to, I promise.
Trash minds, but even if I was only watching
Arcane was
the good
incredible.
shit, still
Best show of the
through
year.
all of the quality content.
Arcane's definitely got it, if you're going to call
We
it
should
an
never
anime.
place too much stock in aggregate review scores, but there are 30 anime this
Oh yeah, the
year
Tom's
with an
Reincarnated
NAL
Slime came
rating
back as
over
well, didn't it?
8.0. That's 10 more than 2018.
Jeez.
9 more than 2019. Not even the eternally
Oh, Demon
legendary
Slayer's
years
back
of
as well.
2006,
I haven't started watching any Demon
2009,
Slayer Season 2 yet, because I
2011
still need to watch the
come anywhere
movie.
close. I don't think it's even a debate at this point that 2021 was peak anime.
It was so
you could
good.
argue for an asterisk next to that record, since COVID pushed a lot of 2020's most promising shows back
Yeah.
and gave their creators more time to polish them up. But even if you
Oh
count
my
X-Arm
God,
against
X-Arm.
2021, I mean, the math does get a lot closer, but it's still not even close. What I'd very much like to do now is find an answer to this conundrum I'm in, and I don't think I'll find it making apples to oranges comparisons between a bunch of shows I love for wildly different reasons.
So, how do we do
Like,
this?
Yeah, I could do the gun to my head thing and make a snap decision that Odd Taxi's the best anime this year, but no, Bochi, stop crying. You're my favorite, I promise.
no.
No, what am I doing? That walrus is my bro for life. But if we're talking bros for life, can
Jujutsu
anyone top
Kaisen,
the
though.
majesty of Aoi Todo?
Yeah.
See, we're just going nowhere fast. I'm a Phoenix
Circles,
Wright fanboy,
circles.
so I know the secret to answering questions that seem unanswerable. You just gotta turn them on your head. Instead of asking what should be anime of the year, what I should be asking is, what even is an anime of the year?
Oh, okay.
One of the trickiest things about figuring out what anime of the year really means is that the definition changes depending on who's handing out the title. When
Okay.
a YouTuber like me or a solo vlogger declares our anime or game of the year, for the most part it's just an excuse to recommend a list of personal favorites.
Yeah, definitely,
We can put
yeah.
in a bit more effort to judge and rank shows based on semi-objective criteria like Under the Scope does, and I used to do with my weird best opening of the year videos no one watched. But even if I'm
Aw, I like
actively
those.
trying
I like
to
those
come up with a
videos.
list of titles that
Don't be like that,
accomplished
Jeff.
something I find artistically or technically impressive, my ranking will still be shaped by my limited technical knowledge and what I personally find to be impressive. To bring things back to the 2017 Yuri on Ice Awards, that was very obviously the wrong choice for Best Animation. but whether the right choice was Flip Flappers, Mob Psycho, or even Cabaneri is ultimately a question of tastes and priorities.
Yeah, definitely. Like, other people have different opinions on what animation, decent animation is.
In one specific field. With Anime of the Year, you're trying to weigh every single aspect of a given production against every single aspect of every single other production that aired the same year. And that calculus can be very different depending on if you're a story gal, an animation guy, or a sound design ascendant being. Hell, it can be different depending on if you're a story gal who prizes tight plotting or one who prefers excellent dialogue and deep characters. I mean, most years it would be. This year, Odd Taxi's story is the top contender anyway.
Yeah, I really feel like it's up there. I just loved it so much.
Even then,
I need to watch it again.
By a wide margin. Ranking of Kings has an excellent script in its own right, and obviously runs circles around the Taxi show's more limited animation style. Though that simpler animation, of course, has its own charms, and the cinematography in that show
adds to the story, I feel, as well, with certain reveals within the
that whole discussion
show.
Is still assuming that Anime of the Year means best animated, which seems self-evident, but is it really? Sure, with awards handed out by the staff of larger enthusiast outlets or expert panels, like, say, the Academy, determining that is often the stated goal, but in my experience, having worked for game blogs through a few award seasons, those discussions frequently devolve into bargaining between contributors who all want to shine a share of the spotlight on their personal faves, with the biggest awards chosen mainly for the sake of keeping the audience happy.
I can't wait to see how the story continues in Attack on Titan.
It's pretty much
It's a shame that it's not going to actually end with this second half. You know, we got a movie afterwards, but I'd rather them not rush the story this time. I know the story's ended in the manga, but I mean, like, you know, rushing everything into the anime.
The guy we snubbed back in 1993. Or failing that, it can also mean historical movie that we, as baby boomers, chose to vote for to feel a bit better about totally failing to live up to the greatest generation. There are exceptions, of course. The DICE Awards panel is by and large filled with people who actually know their shit about the ins and outs of making video games and are generally good at zeroing in on a game, be it AAA or indie, that significantly moved the conversation around games forward that year. But even they fuck up from time to time and give it to Fallout 4 the same year Bloodborne, Undertale, and The Witcher 3 happened.
Oh, wow.
Which is actually exactly what you'd expect to happen in a year like that, or the one that we anime dweebs are in now. When there are so many potential winners
You're gonna
that
miss
are also
some
clearly deserving of accolades on their own distinct merits, the segment of the voting block with truly refined taste ends up getting split between all the equally excellent choices, while a big mediocre thing with a ton of marketing behind it can pick up a majority share of votes through name recognition alone. That's also what happens almost 100% of the time with any award that's based 100% on audience voting. In some rare cases, one particular work, like, say, Made in Abyss, will be self-evidently exceptional enough to overcome the popularity contest inertia.
Still need to check that out. Really? Is it on Funimation? I need to watch new recent season of My Hero Academia as well. Oh my god.
Know firsthand how thrilling it can be to see a community come together in support of something truly great like that. But at the same time, the excitement we all felt backstage at the Anime Awards that year was a direct result of the mounting dread that we'd all been feeling up to that point as My Pico Academia swept through 7 of the 9 other awards it was up for.
Damn.
And lest we forget, the year before that, Yuri on Ice went 7 for 7, converting its nominations to wins. Even though Rakugo Shinju and Mob were right goddamn
That's
there.
crazy.
I mean, come on! If only I could take all this salt inside me back in time to melt that ice before it was too late. Anyway, largely because they had 2 years of results like that in a row, Crunchyroll decided to switch to a hybrid system where audience votes count for 50% of the total scores in each category, while the other half is determined by a panel of expert judges that also selects the nominees. The output of this new system still leaves a big chunk of the anime community displeased each year, but the biggest sweep since it was implemented was 4 wins for My Hero Academia Season 3, And a much more diverse set of shows ends up getting multiple nominations each year, so it's definitely been an improvement. But then, why would they risk devolving into another popularity contest by keeping the audience votes at all? Partly because in the age of social media, people tend to care more about awards they have a say in, as Jeff Keighley's proven year after year in the gaming space, but also because what the audience has to say does matter, especially when it comes to
feel less people know what people want to see.
Because the category isn't just about which anime is the best one, if that's even a question anyone's capable of answering. As soon as more than one person is involved in the decision-making, it's also about the anime that made the biggest impact on everyone, that did the most to define the great conversation this year for a majority of folks who are into anime, or movies, or video games, depending on the award we're talking about. And we need only look back to that one time Star Wars A New Hope lost Best Picture to Annie fucking Hall to see how bad expert panels can really be understanding that side of this equation. You need a degree of expert curation, particularly in the nomination process, to ensure that an award doesn't just reward the most efficient pandering to the lowest common denominator, and it's important for expert opinions to count toward the winner, too. Excellence in craft matters, and you need judges who can make an informed judgment of each nominee's technical qualities. But at the end of the day, we're talking about art here, and there's no...
Oh my god, yeah, there was the Star Wars anime as well, wasn't there, this year? I've not seen that. It's meant to be really good, that.
Moves and resonates with people. If you want to know that, you gotta go straight to the crowdsource. I guess the big point I'm rambling my way toward here is that Anime of the Year is at once an extremely loaded term and also fundamentally undefinable. It means best made anime of the last 365 days, and most popular anime of the year, and most likely to influence other anime from now on, and the anime that most affected me personally, and the anime that I and my friends...
So is he going to actually choose something?
And a bazillion other things, depending on who you ask and what context you ask them in. Usually, one show will fit enough of those things better enough than other shows that I'm
There's too much good stuff this year now. Too much.
For all intents and purposes, but in 2021, that's just not the case. For the writer in me, Odd Taxi's the anime of the year, but for the part that's a fantasy fiend, it's easily ranking of kings.
Right.
For my inner tech dweeb, 86
yeah,
takes
definitely
the crown.
With the dang.
The musical part of
Vivi
my heart really
was
wants
so
to
good.
give it to Vivi, and the sugar high hybrid 90s kid deep down in my soul rejects any answer that's not Skate the Infinity. Do so many choices being valid mean that none of them are? Or is even trying to pick a winner to begin with, even in years when it's not this confusing, an exercise in futility? I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm just happy I got to watch a buttload of great anime this year.
Yeah.
And that I made it through this whole discussion without having to talk about Time Magazine or Elon Musk. Wait. Fuck. I'm Jeff Boo, professional YouTuber, signing out from wherever the comment section on this video isn't.
Right. So he didn't... Yeah. There's a lot of good anime that came out this year, man. A lot of great stuff. Like I said, I like that I'm finally getting back into watching anime. Because next year I want to get into doing my own original anime discussion videos and things. Like, I was aiming to have 2 out this month, but work's just been way too busy with Christmas and that. So January is going to be the perfect month for that. So that'll be an interesting one. Yeah. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, links in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all that helps support the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys so much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already. Leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.